Alright folks, it's Robert and you're watching Sidestep Adventures. It has been exactly 1 week since I've been to this cemetery last, the shocking abandoned cemetery in the middle of the city. And I found out a little bit of information about it since I've been here. I tried making a little bit of a stir about it, see if I could get some people out here interested in cleaning it up. Doesn't look like anybody's been out here since I was out here last though. So this cemetery apparently used to belong to, or used to belong to a church. The name of the cemetery is Smith Grove. I think that's right, Smith Grove Cemetery. So I looked up tax records and it shows as still belonging to a church, which is surprising to me a little bit. I've heard a bunch of different things about this place. One of them I talked about last time, that when the highway came through, they were supposed to move the graves, didn't move the graves, and pave the highway over the grave. That's not true. I don't believe at all, because the evidence, the physical evidence here doesn't add up to that. But what I did hear is that there used to be a church here up on the hill where that other business is, and when the highway was being built, they did buy the land from the church, and allegedly we're going to buy the cemetery too, tear down the church. The state now, for building the highway, was going to tear down the church and then build a new church somewhere else for this congregation. And they were also allegedly supposed to move the graves. Obviously that didn't happen, and they are in this abandoned, forgotten about state. I don't know if that's entirely true, but it does kind of go along with the other story that the highway was paved over the graves, although that wasn't true. So there's something definitely happened there. There's a reason the church was moved down. Now I've got to say, I can't hate on the city completely for this. Just give them a little bit of hate for this, because this cemetery is still private property, or property of a church, it seems. I looked up tax records and a church is still paying taxes on it as of January 2019. So the responsibility of the cemetery really falls on that church, and so I'm wondering why they're not taking care of it. So we can't hate on the city too much for this, although I would still like to see the city make the people that should be taking care of the cemetery do something about it. That being said, I'm out here today. I'm going to try to uncover some graves and clear a little bit of a path out here. I am still not the cemetery caretaker. That is not what I do, and I very rarely come out here and find a cemetery that I feel I need to get involved in cleaning. So that's how much this one shocked me, that I do feel I need to get out here and do the best that I can to clean this one up. Moving on from that, I know I'm rambling a little bit. I did have something else to tell you guys, and I have forgotten it. So until I remember, let's go back there and let's have a look again. This machete sucks. I do want to keep a watch out for snakes out here. I had some people tell me I shouldn't be so worried about snakes, and I generally don't worry about snakes that much as it may seem, but because I know that they typically just want to stay out of my way, and but I do worry about stepping on like copperheads and other snakes like that. All right, let me do this a little bit better by turning the camera off. All right, so I've got Henry Hunter's grave here, kind of cleared off. Used a rake, and this is like I said before, this is definitely some thick growth on these graves here. I'm gonna try to tackle those two next. Placed a flag on his headstone. The sad part about this is I can come off and try to uncover some of these graves today, and in a month's time they'll be covered again if somebody doesn't keep up maintenance on this cemetery. But let's see what we can uncover and try to document some of these names today. Like, see, here's I showed you these before, but there's two right there. Actually, let me get the rake out right now and show you what I'm talking about, how thick this is. Now, so I'm also doing this pretty lightly because I don't want to scratch up the concrete on the top, which also makes it a challenge. This is a pretty heavy duty rake, and if I used a lighter like leaf rake, it wouldn't even be able to get through all of this stuff. Of course, I didn't bring a broom in here, so I'll still have to dust the names off with my hands. It's kind of tricky doing this one-handed, so I'm going to turn the camera back off and tackle a couple of these, and then I'll record again. So I've broken a pretty good sweat already out here. I've been working on 4 different graves for a few minutes, and so here we have Henry Hunter. Of course, that's the first grave that we saw on the last video, and right beside him, which I don't think I knew that on the last video, there's another grave right there I've started to uncover. And there's another grave right here. I've actually down to the name on this grave, but I'm not going to be able to make it out on this video because, yeah, and I know this is a time where I should have some paper and crayon and all of that, but that's a different time to do all of that. Right now I'm just trying to clear off some of these graves and assess how many are actually out here, because like I didn't know about that one. I didn't know about this one, and I'm definitely not going to be able to make that grave out right here. Also need to come back out here with a broom, and hopefully after the last video and after this video I can get some more people interested in coming out here and cleaning out these graves a little bit, because this is way too much for just one person to tackle. You need a large group of people and a definite long period of time to be able to do this. I'm going to get back to it though. I just wanted to stop and show you guys what I've uncovered so far. There's another one there, another one there, possibly one there, maybe not. Looks like a mound. There's some indentions down here. Let's go check these out real quick while Cody's sweeping that grave off, because I did not see these on the last video. So look, there's another headstone I didn't see on the last video either. But before we get down there, you can see there's a grave, there's a grave, there's a grave for sure. Here's a grave that sunk in pretty well. So there's probably a lot more down through there. Yeah, look, there's an indention right on the embankment. This cemetery's getting bigger and bigger. This is military headstone, and it's fallen over. This is Dan Jones, Georgia. Hold on, let me get down a little bit more so I can read that. Dan Jones, Georgia, private, 847, Company Transport Corps, June 22nd, 1923. So we'll get him a flag in just a minute and put on that grave. So I kind of, on last video I started through there. I got up to that little clearing where you can probably see light up there, and then turned back around because I didn't see anything else out here. But we've definitely got some more graves. Let's see what this is. This looks like a oh, this is another outhouse or well right here. Yeah, that's just another outhouse that's fallen in. Right on that, you can see it goes down into the parking lot of that built business down there. Should have brought my machete down here. Someone's trying to call me. Hold on, I gotta take this call. I'll be right back with you. All right, so that's actually the fella who was calling me was the guy that told me about this cemetery. So that's the clearing right there. Talked about just a second ago when I right before I stopped filming, and that's where I stopped exploring on this side of the cemetery on the last video. So I'm going back, and sure enough, there's another one right there. and an indention here, here, there. I really should be cleaning off some of these graves at the moment rather than recording, but I got kind of surprised at how many more there were and how quite large this cemetery is. See, there's one, there's an indention right beside it, so we know that's another one. Let's walk along this area where it's kind of cleared out and see if we see any more. Yep, there's an indention and an indention, so we got some unmarked graves. There's that business right there. You can see how, I mean, what is that, 20 feet between it and the graves? Look at this. That's a grave right there. So that's a field stone marker for an unmarked grave. There's another one over there. So this cemetery actually could be much older than I thought it was initially. So this is what I imagine is this is the further that way I go towards the other road, the older it gets, and the further that way, the newer it gets. Because if you remember, there's 80s and 90s graves over there. These fieldstone markings are typically seen during the the 1800s to the early 1900s. I don't see many after the early 1900s, or cemeteries from the early 1900s that have fieldstone marked graves. There's a nice row of lilies planted. Thought I saw another headstone up here, but maybe not. Look at this. I should have brought my machete up here. I came with some tools today and wandered off without them. Look, there's another one right there. Let's go take a look at that one. One's actually looks like it's been cleaned off kind of recently. Let me get up to it. Knock the spider webs out of my way. Yeah, someone's cleaned off this one grave at some point. Here's Dorothy Jean Petty, August 19th, 1948 to December 27th, 1976. So that kind of blows my theory about the up here being the older part of the cemetery. Although I still think it is, because you've got these older graves over there closer to the other business. Starting with the grave from 1923. I don't remember if I saw any that were earlier than that on the other video. I remember 50s and 80s and 90s. Of course, with the cemetery, there's generally no specific grouping. You can have very old graves and new graves side by side. That's a grave. That's definitely a grave right there. I was hoping maybe at least one of these graves from the seem earlier, that I would say are from the at least late 1800s, would be marked, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And of course, being that this is an African American cemetery, it could be that in the late 1800s they were not able to mark the graves, financially speaking. Look, here's one that I walked right beside and didn't see just a second ago. This is Exxon, E-X-A-N-N Street Rogers. Born 1919, died 1969. All right, let me get back to where Cody is and reassess this a little bit. I know I'm kind of all over the place on this video, but just trying to figure out exactly what I'm up against in this cemetery. Look at this. There's another one right there. Right there. Right there. This is Cora Vaughn. She was born December 25th, 1889. She died September 19th, 1965. Here's another one right there. I need to try to do a count of at least the ones I can visibly see that are marked. I won't count the unmarked graves for now. All right, well, let me crawl under these vines. And this is back where I stopped on the first video. So I'm gonna stop recording now, walk back up to where Cody is, and see where I'm gonna go from there. All right, guys, taking a little water break real quick, and I want to show you what we've done so far. Honestly, it probably doesn't look like much, but it's been quite a bit of work. So I'm going to start back here. Turn the camera around. So as we come in, so we've got this area pretty opened up. Found another grave there. Pretty sure I already told you about that one. And of course, here's the first grave we saw. There's 3 more right there still working on. But I started going ahead and clearing a path out this way, so it's really opened this area up. I couldn't get to that grave before on the last video. And then if you remember, Nancy Bodie, her grave was really covered up. So, I mean, it's taken a few hours. We've been here for a few hours, so we've been working, and of course, I've been running around too. But I wanted to take a moment to show you that there's progress being made, and it's opening up. It's just definitely slow going because there is a lot out here that's covered up. Also wanted to go ahead and take a moment. Look at that. Hey, did you come up here and uncover this grave? Did you come up here and start uncovering this one? Oh, okay. Anyway, I want to take a minute and go ahead and place some more of these flags. This is Favors Dawkins with the BSM Bronze Star Medal. Go ahead and place a flag at his grave. He was again 28th Infantry in World War II, died in 1950. And then I know there was another Korean War soldier up here. You all right, buddy? So if I can find his grave again, we'll go ahead and get him a flag. Something to do while I'm cooling off. There's actually 2 military graves right here, Richard and and John Frank Howard. Both of the last names are Howard. Richard died in 55. Howard died in 75. We'll go ahead and place him a flag. I've got to get another one. I can find where it'll go into the ground here. Let's see, maybe right there. Actually, I'll put his flag over here. So when I come over here, I'll just lay his flag on top for now. That way I can come and cut down those trees. And I need to bring another flag for him. All right, we're gonna get back to it. Just wanted to give you a quick update as to the progress, and we'll see you again in a few minutes. All right, let's go ahead and uncover this grave right here. All right, so here we have Miss Mary Hunter, May 6, 1903, died September 11th, 1972. We've got another one here that's going to take some work to uncover. Put that right there, and let's see if we can stand this stone up, because it's supposed to be standing up like that one is. Let me set the camera down right here. Try to stand this up. All right. There we go. And over here we'll place John Frank Howard's flag, if I can. There we go. There's some dirt. There, move that poison ivy off of there and hope I'm still not allergic. All right, cool. All right, Brian just arrived and brought a broom. He's clearing off Henry Hunter's grave right now, which we can see actually had writing on the concrete part here. Let me move my flags a little bit. You can see that was all hidden before and we couldn't see it. Also used his broom to uncover this grave, which says Willie Littleton, born May 3rd, 1897, died August 15th, 1952, at rest. So now that we've got a broom, we're gonna try to tackle that grave and maybe some of those over there once Cody gets the vines and heavy stuff off of them.
This one over here?
Yeah, that's one right there. All right, so Brian's uncovering another one for us right now.
Hate to stand on it, but it's really the only way to really effectively sweep it.
Oh yeah. If anybody has any smart comments to say about stepping on a grave that hasn't been touched in at least 30 years,
Yeah.
and standing on it because you're cleaning on it.
Have you tried to sweep like this?
Yeah. Well, they can do something with themselves. This is
things.
This is Mrs. It's kind of hard to read. I know. Okay, gotcha. Got it. Miss Emma Day, born November 20th, 1902. She died June 9th, 1936. She did not live very long. It's amazing to see these coming out of the dirt. It really is.
Yeah.
And those military graves back there, those two, I guess they're brothers side by side, look so good with flags on them now. There's a grave from 1923. It's another military grave right there.
Right there.
Oh, so I've already recorded it, but I'm gonna tell you, so I'm gonna repeat myself on video. I just walked all the way through there. There's a bunch of graves. There's some marked with field stones, which leads me to believe that they're probably the oldest out here. Let's sweep up there, see if you can get the name to come out. It's kind of the exciting part, to get to identify these people after so many years of neglect.
Got a date, how about a name?
All right, it's Miss Margaret Dubose, D-U-B-O-S-E. Born May 9th, 1915, died February 16th, 1936. She didn't live very long at all either. Wow. Look at the way it's stamped in there. I mean, it was stamped, you know, while the concrete was wet.
Yeah.
You see, so it's not clear, not like a one that was made somewhere else. And then, I mean, I guess it could have been made somewhere else, but looks to me like it was poured and then stamped here.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. But wow, there's two young ladies that died very young, and around the same time, Miss Emma Day, she died in 1936, died June 9th,
So what was the name of this
1936, and she died February 16th, 36. This is the Smith Grove Cemetery.
Smith Grove.
Yeah.
That's not coming out.
Cody, grab some of that loose stuff I cut and put it in the pile over there. Wow, another 1936. Someone else who died young in 1936.
February 10th.
Let's see if we can get the name out. It's another young woman, Mrs. It's Vinnie, Mrs. V-I-N-N-I-E Marks, M-A-R-K-S. Miss Vinnie Marks, born May 6th, 1898. She died February 10th, 1936. I wonder what's up with these three, possibly more. There's another grave there we're still yet to uncover.
Well,
dying young in the 30s.
well, the 30s was the Depression.
Yeah.
Could have been disease or starvation. Alright, let's see what we got here. We'll start up here this time.
Grab your rake and pull that stuff back. Let me get that for you real quick, these vines. Pull it straight back that way so it's not going on that grave either. All right, go ahead. Well, Miss Nora Jones, born, and look again how it's printed in there.
Yeah.
Born June 10th, 1899, died, that's August 10th, 19.
Yeah, 1919.
Incredible. You know, we see a lot of old graves, but a lot of times people have lived long lives. These people here died very young.
Yeah.
Sad to see. It was definitely a hard time in America. Probably equally a hard time for African American people.
Oh yeah, probably
in America,
because I'm sure that
yeah, definitely worse.
they probably did not get first crack at the jobs that there were.
Right. All right, here's another one we got uncovered. Catherine Carter, born November 28th, 1933, died August 30th, 1978. All right, so we're still hard at work cleaning up the cemetery. I just wanted to take a moment and turn the camera back on and show this to you so you can see it as it progresses. It's definitely opened up a lot since we first started.
Yeah, when we first came in here, you couldn't. Well, you saw it. You couldn't see anything except for an odd grave here and there.
No, it's definitely starting to look like a cemetery now.
Right.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 graves just in this area that are uncovered. And I wanted to show you guys something real quick that I almost tripped over a couple times, and I just thought it was cool. It's not really grave or cemetery related per se, but I saw this pot over here and I thought it was really neat. I'm sure at one time it was decorating a grave. There's no, there doesn't appear to be any graves over here that I've seen. In fact, it looks like back when the cemetery was actually being cared for, this is where they would throw trash, because you could see a bunch of,
sure
bunch of broken flower pots and everything. But this was pretty neat piece of pottery right here, and older, and I just thought it was cool and wanted to show it to y'all. I'm sure it originally maybe had flowers or something in it for the cemetery, for a grave. There's no markings on it, and it's broken, but I still thought it was cool. So working on this grave at the moment, which is one of the ones I showed you earlier when I walked into what I thought was the older part of the cemetery. This seems to have a lot of unmarked graves. There's an indention right there. There's one there, over there. In fact, I think that may be a tree root, or it could be another grave right there. I can't tell for sure. But anyway, here's one we're working on. You can see the vines going across the grave. I want to show it to you before I cut them off, and just how overgrown and covered this one is. But we're going to get to it, and then we'll show it to you uncovered.
Look at that. It's just like a blanket. Oh yeah, before you pull it out too much, you can see.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's wild. Watch out for no shoulders.
Let me see the machete again.
Sometimes the cleanup is intensive. The saddest thing is that nobody's had any visitors for what appears to be decades. It's just freaky how those words are emblazoned in the growth.
Yeah, I'll show you how long it's been on there, like you said, like a blanket.
Yeah.
Covering this grave up.
Wow. Let's just let that sink in. Age 25.
Alright, so here we have another young lady who died young. As you heard Brian say, age 25, and as you can see. So we have at rest, Mary Johnson, born March 12th, 1901, died July 5th, 1926. Here's one I didn't film last time, and this is broken. I don't feel the other half, but all we can read on this one is Bobby, and it's born and died, but as you can see it's broken in half right there. So I don't know where the other half is. I don't hear it under there. It's kind of weird. Maybe something else right there. I know Cody and Brian have the tools over there at the moment. But while they're doing that, there was one I wanted to come over here and try to get to. It's that one that we saw last time and has like a tree on it, and it's just hard to get to. So I'm going to start working on uncovering that one a little bit while they're tackling some easier graves. Alright, so Brian and Cody have been cleaning off these graves. Is there anything on this one, or is it just...
I do not know.
We've uncovered Elizabeth Jackson here, born September 9th, 1934, died June 15th, 1975. Is that one marked, Cody? No.
Mine, I can't tell if that's just how long.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. I think it's just... I can't tell. It almost looks like there's lettering in there. There may have been at one time, because that looks like a C and an O maybe, but it's just so far gone. There's definitely some lettering up there, right there. But it's just so far gone that I don't think you'd be able to make that one out, even with paper and crayon.
I don't know, I'm not seeing anything, but could be good.
That one's probably another unmarked one. Alright, let's go up here. I've got this one kind of uncovered. I see here's a challenge getting in here.
See that? For the room?
Bit of a hole
Might want to start with the rake on that one.
Yeah.
Another
One of these.
another carpet.
Sheesh.
Here.
Well, we have some information. Got to get to that name.
Look, old flowers.
Oh yeah.
Miss Alice Shelton, born 1869, died November 16th, 1966.
Wow, she was nearly 100. Wow.
Yeah. I think I've done about all I can do today.
Yeah.
I'm hot, sweaty, and worn out. We've made some definite progress,
Yes,
but
we
it's
have.
a huge cemetery, so it's still a small bite.
Yeah.
But, I hope that this will encourage some people to come out and clean the cemetery in town. Maybe once this video gets started circulating, and because it's a big job to do it by yourself. And I think this one deserves it. I don't often feel the need to clean cemeteries, and I've said that a lot, but in this case, I don't know, something really grabbed me about this one. It may be maybe how new some of the graves are, that these people should still have families that are alive to take care of it. But and in the end, it really is the family's responsibility and the church's responsibility to care for this cemetery, especially since these graves are new enough for them to still be having living direct descendants. But and also it's a shame that it was allowed to get into this condition.
Yeah.
But I hope you enjoyed returning to this cemetery with us today and seeing some more of it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next adventure. By the way, it's in Columbus, Georgia.